Good evening, whoever is in the room. I'm unable to tell. I wish I could get rid of that. How do I do that? Good evening. Hey, Nick. I am trying to learn how to wait patiently for people to log on. I don't know what you're supposed to do like in the first 5 minutes. That's something I'm going to have to look into, but I think today will be a quick one. How are you doing? I know that's absolutely. I know. Got me a little libations. Excited about that. Followed by a bunch of water. I'm also, yes, a little cup of something. Let's fulfill these cups. Good evening, whoever else just joined us. Thank you for being here. I was just expressing how I don't know what to do as a rookie. The first 5 minutes when people are coming into the room, do you just chit chat, sit here and do nothing? Not sure. Hi, Angela. Thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to have you here. Just completed a day of recording for the Good Old Girls Network website. I'm going to reiterate. I don't know if I said this earlier in the week. This is the hardest I've ever worked in my life, and it is so incredibly rewarding. And when I say that, it's obviously not physical labor, but there's just no short of things, content, interviews, things that I'm thinking about that I'm excited for. So thank you for joining on this Friday night when you could be out and about. Maybe you are out and about still listening, but whatever the reason, I'm glad you're here. I'm going to reward those of you who have joined on time so we can carry on about our Friday night. I can't believe it's day 6. I personally am grateful that I remained consistent all week to make this series come to fruition. That feels really good. There have been times where I've had ideas and went to execute on them, but they hadn't been fully baked. And so that's something that I've learned is how to bake it and then present it versus having these half-baked ideas that seem like a really good idea to me. So I'm grateful if you or if there's something that you are grateful for, please drop it in the chat. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Um, so, fulfillment isn't just about getting to a destination. It's also about finding joy along the way. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is gratitude. I remember, and it's hard for people when I describe what I used to be like in my 20s and early 30s. I could pick out the but in anything. People could be like, but I won $10 million, and I would say, but that just means more money, more problems. Somebody could say, I had the best day of my life. Well, enjoy it now because something's coming. Like it, and I don't even know what it was. I was a happy child. I had a great childhood. I don't know if it had something to do with options and not really having signing on to the fact that this thing is true, that there's always something else. But I recognized that what I was doing was taking the joy out of people's moments. And in addition to that, it really had to do with me. It wasn't about taking the joy from someone. It actually wasn't about the person at all. It was my own balancing of when is the other shoe going to drop or something else is going to happen, instead of just being grateful in the moment. I think it was when I went on this truth journey in my mid 30s, because as a matter of fact, when I hit my mid 30s and truth just smacked me in the face financially, aesthetically, spiritually, relationally, parentally, emotionally, in every area, there was no stone left unturned in my life. What I thought was wrong was that I wasn't giving enough gratitude. So I actually started a gratitude journal at that time. It was, it was not a daily gratitude journal, but even if I didn't write it down, I started just saying thank you when I first opened my eyes. And that still lasts till today. I met this woman, Jennifer, that I used to sit on a board with. And she was telling me how every time she would get in the shower, every part that she washed, she would say, thank you. Thank you, shoulder. Thank you, bicep, thank you, elbow, thank you, fingers, thank you. And that is another habit that I've grown into. Even when I run up my stairs, I just say thank you. I am grateful for being able to run up the stairs. I am grateful if how you're walking down the stairs or something and you almost slip and it clears your nose, you get that cortisol, that adrenaline rush in that moment, right? Is thank you. Thank you. And it starts to be for the tiniest of things. Another tool that was helpful was, obviously there are times that come around in life where there's a pylon, right? It could be something's going on with your health, something's going on with your friends, something's going on with a family member, maybe you lose there's all these things and there's a pylon. In those moments, sometimes it's difficult to see what is good, but I promise, and some of you may already know this, if you just start naming things that you're grateful for, the problems that you have start to shrink because you realize all the abundance that actually exists. I don't even care if you were, losing your house at the time. If you are able bodied, you could be thinking, I'm going to be able to get a job. I need to find somewhere to live. I'm grateful to have people to talk to. I'm grateful to whatever the things are. There's always, always, always something to be grateful for. So, Nikki, you said you do that too. You say thank you when you open your eyes. Yes, absolutely. It is much easier to give gratitude without the guilt of thinking that wanting more means that I'm not grateful for what I have. So, in the moment when I started this journey of authentic living, and I thought that my problem, because my life looked so amazing on paper, and people told me how amazing it was. And actually, it was amazing. Labels on the table. But let's take the labels off the table for a second. The characteristics of my life is what made people define it. But when I took a look and realized that I wasn't living value aligned, but I thought maybe I just wasn't being grateful enough. You can hold space for both things. You don't have to feel guilty when you want more, and you can still be grateful for those things that you have. Because sometimes feeling grateful in the moment, people will say, oh, almost like this fact that you want more out of life suggests that you're not grateful for what you have, but you can hold space for both things. You can be grateful and also want more out of life. As we continue on this journey to fulfillment, let us be mindful of the daily goodness that exists. And then the question becomes how, if you don't already do it, and some of you may actually already be in practice, how will you remind yourself to find joy and to give gratitude? Is it a reminder? I have reminders that pop up on my phone for three different things during the day, and it causes me to do those things in the moment. So let's do like a quick exercise, and you can write it down, type it in the chat, or just think about it. So the first thing is to name one thing about yourself that you're grateful for. And I would actually love you to type those in the chat. Name one thing about yourself that you're grateful for. I'm going to write um, I'm grateful for my creativity. It allows me to get out of sticky situations. When I am in need of something, I feel like I can always explore outside the box to get to an answer, right? Or at least a different pathway, a different perspective, that there's very few times where I feel trapped because I feel like I can explore. What is something about yourself that you're grateful for? I'm grateful for my health and for the ability to move my body. Amen to that. Because there's so much. If we have that, there's so many other things that we can do. And I was speaking to a dear friend who just had surgery, but before that was in chronic pain for 7 years. And I was asking her about her mental health, because when you're in pain, it'll mess with your mind. It can create depression or make you fall into a depression. Okay, number two, if anybody else wants to chime in, please do. Something that you're grateful for yourself, your caring nature. And these things that you're grateful for are useful. I'm also grateful for your caring nature, Angela, because like I mentioned the other night, these things, these things that we put out into the world have a ripple effect. And so you are operating as a good old girl already, right? Just by that caring nature and being able to help someone, because I'm sure that you're fulfilling your cup by having a caring nature, but you're also then fulfilling other people's cups. Thank you so much. All right, number two, name one person who has supported you on this journey. You do not have to put that in the chat, but think about someone who has supported you on your journey. Now, you may have already been on a journey to fulfillment before I ever came into your life. So I don't want to suggest that this 6 days has been the only time you've been on this journey. But if you think about somebody who is consistently supporting you, gratitude for that person and for those persons. Sometimes we can take those people for granted. And so this is a call out or a call in to maybe tell that person that you're grateful for them and the things that they offer you on your journey. Number three, name one simple joy that brings you happiness every day. I would like you to drop that in the chat. One simple joy that brings you happiness every day. Mine is taking a hot shower. I Getting in that hot water with good water pressure is spiritual for me. It actually changes my constitution. If I got up feeling achy, or if I got up feeling like today was going to be a bear, I need only get in the shower to reset. Now, the mental part, it helps if I work out, but the resetting of everything happens when I take a hot shower. That first sip of coffee. I've heard I am one of 5 Americans that does not actually drink coffee. I tried it in college. It makes me nauseous. I envy the coffee community. Where's my coffee? My coffee cup is over there. So I will get things and make things and pretend to be a part of the coffee community because I love the way you all hold it while you're talking and in the break room. If you're in corporate America, if you're a teacher, in the teacher's lounge, like it's a whole vibe that I'm not a part of. So I can't relate. Another coffee drinker. My mother is also in that category. She's vocal about it, and I've heard many of you get that first sip of coffee and there's a verbal expression that happens. So I think that's amazing that you have that. Um, how does thinking about even those three questions, did that do anything for your mental state? Yes, for me. I'm going to say yes for me. Okay. So today's challenge is and you've probably already thought about it, but I'm going to say take a gratitude walk. And you can take a literal walk, but I mean a mental walk. That at some point tonight, you go back as far as you can and think about the things that you are grateful for. Potentially, you may want to wait until you're on your way to sleep. One of the things that also helps me get to sleep when my brain won't shut off is I start back as far as I can remember. And I'm grateful for the Barbie van my mom got me when I knew she couldn't afford it. I'm grateful for my light up racetrack because I was a bit of a tomboy and all the kids, all the boys in the neighborhood, we had such a good time with it. I'm grateful that my neighbor Sean taught me how to spiral a football. And he would kind of trot me out whenever guys would come in the neighborhood and say, I bet you my little sister could throw a ball better than you. It was fun to show up the guys. So if you start to name those things, I don't know where I make it to, but eventually I just fall off to sleep and I don't even remember falling asleep. So take that gratitude walk tonight and see how it feels. These are some of the things that we will revisit in longer form in the Good Old Girls Network community. Now, depending on what your fulfillment assessment looks like when you take it, you will decide how you're going to fulfill your cup. So I won't be deciding, or we won't be deciding what goes into your cup. You're going to decide that, and then you will access the journey that is necessary for you. Now, the onboarding process, as I mentioned, will be the same for everyone. Everyone must complete the onboarding process because there's a mindset that we have to go into. I said have to. I'm taking that back. Remember, we're getting out of the have tos. There's a mindset that I would like for each good old girl to have as she enters the Good Old Girls Network community. It is there are 10 beliefs that we go through. There are goals and objectives and understandings. And if you agree with them, great. If you don't agree with them, also great. If the community is not for you, that's okay. But one of the things that I talk about is I am a part of and have been a part of many organizations. And there are a few things that I've noted along the way. And one of them is that very rarely do people stick to their code of conduct, or there is no code of conduct that helps us understand how we're supposed to operate with one another. It might say a general, we take care of our sisters. We do. What does that mean? What does that look like? What kind of language do we use around that so that we can everybody who comes into the Good Old Girls community gives permission for another good old girl, if you use have to, should, or if you start to live into external expectations, lovingly, we should just nudge each other to say, you don't have to do that. Let me ask you a question. So we're in the question asking business where you would ask your good old girl sister, why do you feel like you have to? And that's when we get to the root of why we're doing it, or why we should not do it, or why we could make a different choice. I should say, right? So I'm so excited. Okay, I'm so excited. Um, if you, I've been looking for any organization like what I'm creating, and I can't find one. And it is not about, I shouldn't say what I'm creating. I really believe, as hokey as this sounds, that I am being a vessel or a pass through for something that feels bigger than me, which is why it doesn't matter to me if 3 people show up or if 20,000 people show up. I believe that this organization is here for such a time as this, for who it's for. And so we're going to keep going. Okay. So, any questions or comments about this week, about gratitude and joy, about something that you would want to cover in this topic that we didn't touch? Anybody? Okay. Are you all doing anything else after this evening or this evening that will bring you joy? If so, what are you all doing? I'm That's going to look so. No questions. Excited to be on this journey. Thank you so much. What book are you reading, Nikki? Reading, also reading. I actually just bought a book that was referred to me called James. I'm going to be on a long flight soon, so I think I'm going to start the book then. So you all are reading. What are you reading? And would you recommend it? Would it I'm not going to ask would it bring me joy. I just want to know what you're reading. If you're willing to share. Recovering from the flu. Oh, I'm so grateful that you're in recovery mode, and also praying that you can taste your dinner. Thank you for sharing. Well, if you all have my email address, I really do want to know what you're reading. Fulfill my cup at thegogn.com. Reading Amari and the Great Game. Oh, I love it. I love it. You're reading that with Micah. That's amazing. That actually is way satisfying. Horse. Yes, highly recommend. Okay. I'm putting it in my phone. In my phone. Horse. Perfection. All right. Well, I thank you for your time on this Friday night. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Tomorrow, we are meeting at 1 o'clock. If you're here, if you're not, it will be on this channel so that you can go back and avail yourself of it if you like. 90-day journey. Don't forget, if you're joining, journaling, we're starting tomorrow. I'm going to share what I write tomorrow at the top of the day, just to give you an example. And the future is fulfilled, ladies. And it starts right now. Thank you for being here. Bye.